Hi there, Jessica Hayes here, founder of the Lockbox Advantage, and it is my true pleasure to introduce to you Miss Jacqueline Nance, our newest coach here at the Lockbox Advantage. Say hello to the people,
Hi,
Jack.
Jessica. Hello, people.
And I'm super excited to introduce Jack to you guys because she is someone who I have found personally incredibly inspiring. And I don't know if you even know this actually, but Jacqueline's superpower is that she is so honest and so real and so vulnerable in the strongest way possible, just in really everything that she does. And I think that that is something we all need more of in life. She has
Thank you.
graciously, yeah, she has graciously given me permission to pick her brain out loud so that you guys can get to know and love her the way I do. And so we're just going to be chatting today to get to know Miss Jack.
Sounds
With
like a
that,
plan.
yeah, with that, do you have anything that you want to make sure you get off your chest, or do you want me to go straight into the questions?
Go straight into it. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to go straight into it. So, Jacqueline, you have been, like I said, very open about real
Mhm.
life struggles online, right? And one of
I
the
can't help
things,
it.
no, I think it's great. I think it's so great because, you always have this mindset of, yeah, I'm overcoming this right now. It's never
Mhm,
victim mentality. It's never fear. It's never shrinking. It's always, this is real life and this is how we navigate it. And I
mhm.
think, especially in our industry, there's so many like influencers out there who are just showing the highlight reel and it makes real life agents feel like they're failing.
Mhm.
And what I love about what you're doing is that you're not lying about the hard stuff. You're not wallowing in it, but you're showing that it's not an impediment to real life success. And I think that's a story that we need. I needed it. Like, I still need it. I love following you online. You change my
Thank
mindset
you.
on a regular basis. And I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. I know that.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, one of the things that you've talked about that, I have been drawn to is that you are, in fact, a working mom. You've got some gorgeous daughters who are so cute,
Mhm.
but they
Thank
have
you.
real life struggles, right? Like you've
Uh-huh.
really got challenges. Do you mind if I talk about this before I just start talking about?
No, no, not at all. And it's interesting that you bring that up because I get a lot of feedback on
Yeah.
what I share about my daughter's. She has type 1 diabetes. And, from day one, I've shared about the ups and downs with that. And I have had so many people message me like, we love this. We want to see
Mhm.
more of this.
Yes. And it's not that we love that your daughter has that struggle,
Well, no.
but I think what we love is that we can relate to dealing with that struggle and still being a badass and still being a
Mhm,
great mom, right?
mhm,
Like you
mhm.
don't necessarily have to choose, you do have to make sacrifices. And I think you do a great job of just demonstrating what that balance looks like in real life
Right.
for someone who is a successful real estate agent and also a committed mother,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah. And it is a balance. And I will say it's something that I have to work at every day. But if there's one thing that I am is resilient and determined. And, I don't let anything get in the way. Of course, I have my down days, right? I have my tough days and I wonder how I'm going to make it through some things. But, you just put one foot in front of the other.
yeah, and then you do it and you make it happen. And the
Yeah.
rest of us are like, holy cow, how does she do that? You just make it happen.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for seeing that.
Well, it's real. And in a previous life, before I really stepped away from the active sales, my whole brand was like real life real estate mom.
Hmm.
And I remember sitting at the table as a very pregnant mom of three, getting ready to have my fourth. And I had, this gentleman who maybe had not been accustomed to pregnant working mothers say, I don't know that this is fair to you. I think you should probably be resting. And I remember in that moment, like the hormonal rage that silently took over. Um, But what came to mind in that moment was just, sir, I want to walk you through this journey with me. I want you to go back in time. And I want you to remember when you were late for school and in a panic because you couldn't find your left shoe. Who did you go to for help
Mhm,
immediately?
mhm.
And then he kind of laughed. And I'm like, no, really, I want to know, was it your dad?
No,
And he
it's
was
always
like,
mom.
no, it was my mom. And I said, yeah, of course it was. And like
Good for you.
fast forward a few years, you have a really important science project that's due tomorrow that you never started. Who did you go to in that moment
Yeah,
of panic? And he was like,
right.
yeah, I went to my mom. I said, yeah. And then you got your heart broken for the first time. Who did you go to? I, I guess I went to my mom. Right. You are getting ready to make the most important financial decision you've ever made in your life. Are you seriously telling me you think you don't need a mom?
Yeah.
And he kind of was like, oh, oh. And that moment, like that conversation, I think I've probably told that story 5,000 times, by the way. But that conversation is something that I go back to often because I think we as mothers make the mistake of thinking that it's a handicap, that we make the mistake of thinking we can't be as good as so and so because we have kids. I think it's the opposite, you guys. I think motherhood is a superpower.
I was just gonna say that.
Yes. And I love that you embody that so well in what you do.
Yeah.
And that's the story that I want told, right? That is what I think you are bringing to the table that a lot of coaches in our space are just not bringing, right? That
Mhm.
relatability, that experience, that real life, real world problem solving that no, I'm a badass agent, an amazing mother, and life isn't always roses. I am overcoming challenges every day. And this is
Mhm.
what it looks like. So
Mhm.
I'm talking a lot. I'm so sorry. And in
That's
case you
okay.
can't tell, I'm really excited that you're here. And so, really, what's happening is people are getting to know why I'm excited about you.
Yeah,
So I'll try to rein it in a little bit.
it's
But
okay.
one of the things that you've just done really well is, I think, demonstrate the importance of mindset and how you control yours through those kinds of challenges. Can you tell us a little bit of what that looks like for you in your business?
Mhm. I do wanna start off by saying I wasn't always this way. I kind of got my life together a little bit later in life, and, after my first daughter was born, I was a personal trainer at a gym, and I thought, "Okay, well, I can't work in a gym for the rest of my life." And my family and my husband have always told me, "You'd be fantastic at real estate because you're really good with people." And I thought, "Oh my gosh, I'm really not smart enough to take that test." And that kind of got in my way, right? But I knew that now that I had someone to provide for, I wanted to be a better person for my daughter. And so with that, I stayed home for a little bit. I went back to school and I got a bachelor's degree. And with that, I couldn't really find anything that paid a sufficient amount of money for me to be able to pay for childcare and then go to work. It's California, it's expensive.
Mhm.
And so I made the decision to get my real estate license, and I studied my butt off, when the kids were napping at night after they went to school. I'm sorry, after they went to bed. Um and I told myself, like, if I don't pass this test the first time, I'm not going to take it again.
Oh, the
And
pressure.
thank God I passed. I know. I'm very hard on myself. I am.
Okay.
I will say that. But once I started growing my real estate business, I've always just, like I said, I've loved people and it's come very natural to me. And so it was easy for me to get like a really good head start just because of who I knew and cultivating those relationships and then bringing my kids along with in my business. They're part of my business. You see them putting together pop buys for me or passing out flyers with me, and I love having them a part of that, and I'm showing them what it looks like to work hard and have it pay off.
I love that you said that. Like, there's no guilt in that, right? You are
Mm-mm.
leading by the best possible example and showing your girls what it means to have the best of both worlds, what it means to put your family first and provide for them at the highest possible level. And I
Yeah.
love that
And
they
do
get
you
to be a
know,
part of it.
and I'm so thankful. That's a really good way to put it, is to have the best of both worlds, because I do volunteer in the classrooms as much as possible, go on the field trips, help out the PTA with whatever they need. I was PTA vice president one year. I'm all in with them. I'm able to be at gymnastics, but I'm also still very much involved and present for my business. And it is a balance, and it is something that you have to work at. And there are times that I have to miss things for sure. But
Sure.
there's not a day that goes by that I'm not so grateful for my situation.
I love that. And you still approach it with gratitude. I want you to be very aware. And I think the people who are watching probably are getting this intuitively, but it's not it's not something that you didn't create for yourself, right? It's not like, I'm so grateful that I've got running water. I'm so grateful that I live in a country where I get to vote. This is something like you made this bed and now you get to lie in it in the best possible
Yeah.
way, because there's so many out there who are like, this is hard, so I'm not going to try. And I think that you are somebody who can maybe understand that mentality because you were very close to being that person.
Hmm.
But you overcame that fear, right? You overcame
Hmm.
the fear of failure, and I think that is paralyzing for so many, and I think that is what your superpower is gonna be. You're gonna be able to connect with people who are on the precipice of greatness and don't even realize it.
Hmm.
I think that you and I'm so excited to bring you on, and in case anybody hasn't noticed, like, we've never done an interview like this at the Lockbox
No.
Advantage. We're doing
Well,
it
I've never done one
now.
like this.
We're doing it now because I feel like you have one of the most relatable success stories that people want to be true. Like,
Hmm.
people want to believe that you can go from 0 to 60 through hard work and commitment and not sacrifice all of your personal time and not sacrifice what it is to be a parent and not sacrifice what it is to be a spouse, right? And you have done that so beautifully that I think you are uniquely positioned to really walk people through that journey to get the life that they actually want, not to become a slave to this business, because we can. That can
It's easy to
happen.
do.
It's
You
so
can
easy
work
to
this
do.
job 24/7. Yeah.
Mhm. Always. There's always more that you could be doing, I promise.
Hmm.
But then it just really becomes, why are we doing it then?
Right. Well, then I think it comes down to, okay, what are my goals?
Mhm.
And that might not be, how many houses can I sell this month? Maybe it is.
Right.
But what are my life goals? What do I want to wake up every morning and do and feel and be excited about? What's important to me?
Yes. And I think that is a piece of the conversation that unfortunately is missing for a lot of folks right now,
Hmm.
especially. Like, it's such an
Well,
easy time to be afraid.
yeah. And I think that there's a lot of pressure in this business to, am I doing enough? Should I do more? And again, that comes back to having a plan and really outlining, okay, well, if this is my goal, what do I have to get done today?
Yep,
Personally and professionally.
exactly.
And not listen to all the noise out there and not get distracted about, oh, so and so closed this and so has 5 new listings and da 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 da. It's really easy to get sucked up into that. I don't like that.
Yeah, like, you've gotta be able to unsubscribe from the BS that's constantly being shoved down your throat, right? And just be
Hmm.
hyper focused on your little microcosm of the world. You have to
Yeah.
know, this is what I need to do today. And what
Right.
they need to do today is between them and theirs. This is what I need to do today. And I
Yeah.
think that is always going to be our message here at LBA, right? Like, our goal is always to help agents meet their goal. It is
Hmm.
not to make everybody a, $100 million producer. Not everybody wants that,
Right. And it's
right?
okay to not want
And
that.
it's okay to not want it. I mean, we do have clients that are $150 million producers. And if that's what you're aiming for, hey, I know the plan to get you there. But for those of us who maybe don't want that, maybe for the agent who's like, I would be super happy selling 15 million this year. And I believe I can generate that income and never miss a soccer game.
Mhm.
There's a
Yeah.
real
That's what it's all
need.
about.
Yeah, there's a real need, I think, for game planning that lifestyle.
Mhm.
I think we need to be very cognizant of the damage we're doing with this toxic production mindset where you have to do more, you have to do more. You don't.
Mhm. You know what word I hate?
Yeah, tell me.
Hustle. Hustle. The whole hustle culture thing. Hustle culture. Because I feel like as moms and just even as individuals, there's life is so much faster nowadays with
Mhm.
everything that's online and social media and everything that we have to have on our plate every day. And it's like there's nowhere that's left over for grace, for rest. And so that's something I'm really intentional with every day. I
I
think it's
really like that
important.
you
And
use the word intentional.
yeah, yeah. Because in order for me to show up my best for my kids, for my clients, which they all deserve, I need to be taking care of me.
Mhm. Mhm.
Do you want to know what
Yes.
that looks like?
Yeah, I do.
So every afternoon after I pick the girls up, they're out at 3:10. They come home, they want to veg. So they catch up on their iPad, they have a snack, they have a drink, and for that 30 minutes, I sit down on my couch and I read my book every day. And it is
There
my favorite time of the day.
That is your recharge time.
Mhm,
But it's so important that you're intentional about recharging on a daily basis,
mhm.
whatever that looks like for you, right?
Yeah.
I think we need more of this in life, in the industry, in general. We need to be intentional about being great at our jobs, being great for our families, and being kind to ourselves.
Mhm,
And I think you hit the nail on the head. We cannot possibly show up for those around us as our best possible selves if we are not caring for ourselves, if we're not really diving into that self care on an intentional level.
mhm,
Mm, I don't think it's possible to really hit your highest heights if you cannot show up as your 100% best self.
mhm.
It's really all intertwined.
It
And
is. It's all connected.
it's all connected. And I think we need to be really honest with ourselves about our goals, about our whys, right? Are
Mhm.
you feeling like you're just in this hamster wheel because you need to make as much money as possible because you need to make more money than so and so down the street? Or have you really sat down and thought, my ideal life looks like this? And this is the amount of time and the amount of money that I need to live that life.
Mhm.
And now if we
And
look
that's the
at
thing.
that, yeah.
It's for me. It's not for anybody else. And that's why
Mhm.
you have to kinda keep tunnel vision. You gotta stay
Mhm.
focused on what those goals are and what your intentions are because it's really easy to get knocked off course and maybe you
Yep.
might get distracted on what other people are doing, but you can't control any of that, but you can control where you're at.
Mhm. And you can be really intentional about it. And you know what? So, Jack, I asked you to complete a DISC assessment, which I appreciate that you did. And I'm going to out you a little bit. You are a
Okay.
high C. I never would have guessed this about you. Um,
Okay, tell me what that means.
so, what that means is that you have an incredible attention to detail.
Yeah.
Now, I am like the worst possible combination of humans. So, like I am literally a 50% D and a 50% C, which means I want it done now and it better be right. It's like the worst. But what I was so excited about yours, and I think I told you I saw S in you, and you do have
You
some
did.
S, by the way. You've got significant amounts of S, but your highest trait was C, this conscientious trait, where you are somebody who values quality over quantity. And the more
Mhm,
I read it, I was like, yeah, yeah, obviously she's a C. How could I not have seen this? And
mhm,
I think what that's going to do for you and do for your clients is really help you to map out the path to the life that people are really looking for. And having walked that path already, I think you are uniquely positioned to be that guide. And I'm so excited I'm jealous of your future clients because I feel like you're going to be able to provide this level of just maternal guide that we all need.
Mhm,
But I
mhm,
think most of us are afraid to ask for, if I'm being very honest. Like, we're afraid
mhm,
to admit that we need this kind of help or that we could benefit from this level of care and attention. And I see you as being one of the best possible adds to our organization. I see you as being somebody who's going to just hit the ground running and instantly change lives. And I don't know if you even realize what a big difference you potentially can make for people, but having been on this side and really seeing, what a difference it can make to give someone a roadmap, to kind of walk someone through those paces. I feel like where you're coming from is where so many people want to go.
mhm.
There are
Yeah,
so many agents out there who wish they could achieve what you have done, and I'm so
yeah.
excited. I'm so excited to watch you just guide people in, usher them to the finish line. And I wonder, like, have you thought about that, or is this more like, "I wanna help people." Have you thought about the impact that that is gonna have?
I have to be very honest with you that I know I have a gift, and it's about finding the right avenue in order to be able to share that with people. And that's why this is so perfect because I've had such great success in real estate. I've been asked to teach so many classes, help all the new agents, mentor
Mhm.
them. And that's something that I thrive on. It's like I love being of service that way. And yeah, I'm really excited to hop on board and to be able to finally carry this out.
I'm so pumped, like, I'm pumped. I can't even. Now, I'm gonna get, I think, even a little bit more personal because you have, again, been very, forthcoming, very vulnerable, very honest with your social media life, which I appreciate.
Mhm,
But one of the things that you've kind of repeatedly talked about over time is strengthening your marriage on purpose as a working parent. And this is a challenge that I have to be honest with you, this comes up like 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10 when you're helping a real estate agent who is maybe new to this whole commission only structure and has a
mhm,
partner who wants to lean on them in a way that's not necessarily realistic at the very beginning, and the friction that can cause, the turmoil that can cause, and the impacts that can have. And I
mhm,
really, really appreciate that you have been super honest about, like, "Hey, life is hard. It's super hard." And your path and just on purpose feeding that relationship and keeping that relationship strong and healthy. And I mean, do you think from your perspective that that has helped you professionally?
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, it all comes down to communication. And I'll be very honest, in my real estate career, there's been times that he's told me, you know, "Can you please put your computer away?"
Sure.
Or, "Are you almost done?" And before I had really good boundaries, right? Like, I don't need to be working at 9:30 at night and while we're trying to watch a show or get the kids down or whatever. And I've learned from that for sure, and I've set boundaries. But it all comes down to sometimes you can't put the computer down or you can't put your phone down. And there are times for that. But again, it comes back to being intentional of no, this is my family time. And him and I always come first because if we're not strong, we don't have that solid foundation, then everything else falls apart.
Hmm. And I think, that's something so many of us have struggled with, particularly like you said, with this idea of boundaries. And I've been very guilty of it in my
Mhm.
early years in sales. It was not uncommon for me to be on the computer at 1 o'clock in the morning because I
Yeah.
just had to get this deal ratified. And the crazy thing is the agent on the other side was doing the same thing. And like it was just this
Mhm.
ridiculous. And then we had our clients up at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, docu-signing agreements. Like, what are we doing? What are we
Yeah.
doing? Right.
Yeah.
And I remember putting my foot down and just saying, you know what? I'm available Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. On Saturdays by appointment. I spend Sundays with my family.
Yep. I have that in my email signature.
Oh, do you? I didn't know
Mhm.
that, but I love it.
Mhm.
And I just remember how freeing that was when I decided that was okay.
Yeah.
And you get the full gamut of reactions, right? You get people who are like, "I work 24/7 for my clients." But the truth is, why would you want that as a client? Why would you want that version of that agent,
Mhm.
right? And we've already said it. You have to be able to show up for your clients at 100%.
Mhm.
And that's always been kind of my answer when we get that objection, right? Well, so and so says they're available to us 24/7. Can I share with you why that concerns me a little bit?
Right.
You
You know what
know,
my favorite thing is on the
tell
phone?
me.
Do not disturb.
I've got it on schedule for me. Like, I don't even have to click it. It is on at bedtime.
Yeah.
And and I do have, certain contacts if my kids reach out to me, if my husband reaches out to me, and for some reason they're not in the house, my phone will ring. But if you're not
Mhm.
on my favorites list, you're not getting through. And it's
Mhm.
okay because you know what's going to happen between bedtime and morning? Nothing.
Mhm.
There are no banks open, there are no title companies open. There's
Mhm.
absolutely nothing that we are going to miss by not getting you into contract at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Right. But I
Nothing.
think it also comes down to intention, right? So when I talk about the afternoon where I sit on the couch for 30 minutes and I read my book, I put my phone on do not disturb because if I'm sitting
Mm,
there and my intention is rest, but in the back of
for
my
sure.
head, my wheels are like, a
And you
text is
hear a
going to come through, a
ding.
call is going to come through. I'm
Yeah.
not really resting. I'm
No.
still spinning my wheels. And so the same comes with when you ask about, my husband and I and the balance with that. That is another boundary. When it's family time and mom is present.
Mhm.
And of course there are times where yes, I'm negotiating, but I kind of make up for those times because I'm intentional about the do not disturb, about the family
Right.
time.
Well, and I do think when it's a rare occurrence, it's way easier to get your partner's buy-in, right?
Mhm.
If your partner has faith that you are not going to put them on the back burner by default, I think at least I have found, and I think you'll probably agree, that when they know that's not your automatic response, they respect that when you ask them for this extra time that you really need it.
Yeah,
And the
absolutely.
level of support that that garners, I mean, it actually, for me, it makes me feel 1,000 times better when I can look my husband in the eye and he's like, "Oh, you need this time? I got you. I'm gonna take the kids outside," because he doesn't question whether or
Mhm.
not I need it for real. He knows I would
Mhm.
never ask for it if I didn't really need it. And there's
Right.
something to be said for that support that I think you can only ask for if you've earned that trust, right? And
Mhm.
that's hard. That's really
Yeah.
hard. I think for myself at the beginning of my journey here, I didn't really realize that I hadn't earned the right to ask for that, and I was asking for it way too often.
Yeah. But you know
That's
what?
the
We
truth.
learn. We all
Mhm.
start somewhere. I mean, you get into the real estate business and it's so exciting and you're pumped that you've got a
Mhm.
listing or a buyer to work with and you
Sure.
just like, you want to please and do a good job and then the family does take the back burner. But then you learn in time like, this isn't working out so well. I think everybody goes through that cycle.
Oh, I think so too. And I think it's really important for us to remember, like, we should be more excited to please our children and our spouses than we are to please the stranger that we met at the open house yesterday.
Mhm.
Like,
Absolutely.
it should be, and it's okay that it's not intuitive right away, but I think we have to be really conscientious about that because that really is the beginning of the end for so many agents, right? When
Mhm.
that core foundation starts to crumble, it's very difficult to build a business if you feel like your business is killing your personal life.
Yeah.
And the good news is it doesn't have to, right? Like we can
Yeah.
support one another through this. We can have great family relationships while still being exceptional agents and helping our clients win every single day.
And I'm proof of that. I've
Mhm,
been there. I've gone through it all. It was a rough start, right? But I learned
mhm.
from that and pivoted. And like we talked about, boundaries. So I want to share that with people because it is possible.
And I'm excited for you to share that with people because I think you're going to be able to help people not only meet sales goals, but truly build better lives. And I think
Yeah.
that's what I'm so excited about. I feel like, this is an impact based company. I didn't start this company thinking I was going to become a billionaire overnight. I started this company because I really believe that we have the ability to change lives. And I know that sounds so corny and cheesy, but I believe it in my core. And
Mhm.
I genuinely believe that you joining the ranks is gonna just inch that needle so much further, and I'm thrilled. Like, I'm thrilled about it. So,
Me
I'm
too.
excited to
Yeah.
have you here. I thank
I'm
you so
very
much.
excited. Thank you for
Um,
having me on here. This is awesome.
yeah, I mean, I'm pumped. I hope that all of our people get to see more and more and more of you. If you have questions for Jack, like send them to her. She's Jack at the lockboxadvantage.com. She is selling Whitney Ranch, right? On
Yep.
everywhere, all of the socials. And she
Everywhere.
sells, yeah, she sells the crap out of Whitney Ranch. Let me tell you what. Um, And, just connect. If you have questions about how to do this thing in a way that's going to help you be the best possible version of you at the same time, I genuinely believe that Jack is your best connection to kind of get a shortcut to the finish line. With that, I mean, unless you have any parting words, I think we're just going to let people go and be excited about meeting you.
Yes, no, and I would love to connect with anybody in the Lockbox Advantage, kind of sphere, and so I would love to either be emailed or followed on social and make that connection.
Absolutely. All right, guys, have a great day. We'll
All
see you
right.
next week. Thanks for your time,
Thank
Jack.